Well, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are around the world, and welcome to another Office Hours here on Hosting.com's Agency Success. My name is Nathan Ingram. I am the host and agency trainer here for Office Hours every week, and so glad you've decided to join us today. We have a number of WordPress news items to talk about, as usual, as we get started today, and also plenty of time for your questions. There's just 3 questions in the list today, so plenty of space for you to ask yours. If you'd like to do so, the link is there waiting on you in the chat. And you can ask those questions at any time, by the way. If you're not a person who can join us live and you're watching this on the replay, all you have to do is go to wpnathan.com, and there's a big green button at the top of that little test site that says Ask a Question, and you can ask your question on the form there. We take questions in the order they're received here on the Office Hours live stream, and we'll get to yours, and you can pick up the answer later when you're able to get back to the stream. So let us start with some WordPress news, shall we? I'm going to drop in for you the link for this slide deck if you would like to follow along with us. There are some URLs here that you might be interested in. So a few things happening in WordPress. The first thing that we'll mention is this new tool called my.wordpress.net. Now, I mentioned it either briefly, either last week or the week before. And this is a tool that's worth noting because it's particularly helpful if you want to just spin up a quick dev site to test a plugin or a theme or do some other things. Now, it's kind of like WordPress Playground Plus. It's free, completely free, but it takes the WordPress Playground to the next level. You may have seen Playground before, where you can spin up a WordPress instance in your browser. It doesn't need hosting. It lives on your local machine. It's using your browser memory. But this is actually, it takes it a bit like a next step up because you get file editing capability and some other things. So my.wordpress.net is pretty darn cool. The data never leaves your device. It's all locally in the browser. And so here's what it looks like. Let me just click here. It takes 15, 20 seconds to spin this up. So you can watch it going here. It is preparing WordPress. Isn't that interesting? So give it just a minute. It's setting up all the things in the background here in the browser. And then look, we have a fully functioning version of WordPress. What is my name? Do I want to do, this is pretty cool. Look here, import content from a website. You can pull in posts, for example, from an existing website that you have just to play around with things if you like. I'm going to do not now, but here we go. So just an intro page here, but we're running the 2025 theme, but we can jump right to the dashboard here, running WordPress 6.9.4. It is lightning fast because it's just running in your browser. There's no hosting. The database is an SQLite database, which is basically a flat text file that just lives in browser memory. But unlike Playground, which makes this a little more difficult, you can actually just go right here and install plugins. So you get connection to all the things. Let's just go to recommended, see what we get here. Let's install, I don't know. What is this? I don't know what this is. Let's just install it. Fay Cursor. So we can just install plugins just as we normally would. This looks like it has a connection to Freemius, so we'll skip that. And yeah, look at that. It's just working. So you can pretty much, there's no effects. Let's see, cursor effects. How about the rise effect? I don't know what this is going to do. Anyway, oh my goodness. This is delightful. Yeah, so, who wouldn't want that? It quickly lets you just spin up a quick website, install whatever fun plugins you want to install to test. If you're having a plugin conflict, this is a nice way maybe to install a couple plugins and see if they're conflicting with each other. But the neat thing here, you can click, where is it? It is here, right here in this link. You have, look, full access to the file tree, which is pretty darn helpful. So I can actually go in right here and edit my WP config. How about that? That's pretty cool, right? So you have full control over all the things. So Playground was neat to maybe spin up a quick WordPress test install with a plugin already pre-configured, but this is like real WordPress just running in your browser. So pretty cool. Nice little feature you want to keep in your tool belt for if you are doing some debugging or you just want to test a couple things. So I think that's pretty neat. And it's totally free right there, my.wordpress.net. Oh, Sue, interesting. Can you export that site? I have no idea. Let us go add. I'm going to get rid of that cursor because the plugin because that's just going to bug me. What's your favorite? Somebody give me your favorite in the repository backup plugin. Let's see if it'll run. What's your favorite free in the plugin directory backup plugin? All in one. And of course, I'm in the wrong place. Let's do this. All right, let's install this and see what happens. I have no idea what's going to happen. We are running an SQLite database, so it may just absolutely explode. But let's see what's going to happen. Export site. See, I don't even know how to use this. Let's do a backup. Create backup. Let's see if it blows up. Look at that. I mean, so theoretically, let's see what's in this zip file. Oh, it's not a zip file. It's its own little proprietary format. So I don't know what the deal is there. I don't know if we can actually get into this. I'm going to try to change that file name to zip and see what happens. Nope, doesn't work. Anyway, theoretically, it's going to work. Okay, somebody said try duplicator. Let's just do that for the heck of it here and see if we can get a zip file so we can see what it actually looks like. Duplicator, create new. No, it didn't run. Duplicator doesn't like this. And my guess is there's probably something weird about the backup it made, but it'd be worth trying, right? A little bit outside of our context today, but you can kind of see how this works. Oh, the other really neat thing about this is with Playground, I'd close my browser instance and it's gone. Now, though, if I go back to my.wordpress.net and it spins this up, give it a second to spin back up again. It's actually going to remember all of these things. So it is persistent. Oh, I can't access the page. That's lovely. Let's see if oh, there we go. Okay. So look at it. It's got my cursor there. It didn't remember those other two plugins, so that's interesting. But it did remember this one that I installed. So who knows? Pretty interesting. Terry says use this to extract the file. All right. I had renamed it to zip. So let's rename it to WPress. Well, it's not wanting to uncompress. So it maybe that requires some experimentation. But there you go. That is my.wordpress.net. It's a tool worth experimenting with, and I think it might be helpful as we're just playing around and testing things out. It's certainly quicker than actually installing WordPress in your hosting environment just for a quick test. So pretty cool. Again, if you would like these the slides with these links, the link to download those is right there in the chat. Okay, another interesting story. Matt Cromwell's doing a little bit of writing for the repository now. Matt is one of the founders of the GiveWP plugin. He was on the Stellar team for a while. He is flying solo at the moment, and he's doing some good writing for the repository. And this is an excellent opinion piece. And his point in this article, which I think is worth reading, is that there's so much focus in core trying to make that the collaboration feature that we talked about last week, which is kind of cool. But are you really going to use it? And that's his question. Like we are putting resources, says Cromwell, in the wrong place. So the most widely used real-time collaboration plugin has 300 active installs. Not 300,000, but 300, which is a little bit of measure of the demand for this feature. Is it a cool thing? Yeah, but how many people in WordPress are using some alternate builder or tool, not the block editor, to design their whole website? Most of the WordPress ecosystem. And so what Matt is saying is what we really ought to be building is focusing on AI because the platform that embraces AI the first is going to outpace the platforms that don't. And Matt says, yeah, WordPress core is spending development resources on a feature that maybe nobody really wants. So it's an interesting read, and it'll get you thinking. And I don't see a lot of wrong in his logic. Something else to point your attention to, this is an excellent video from Brad Williams from Web Dev Studios. Brad's been around the WordPress space for eons, and he's got a great YouTube video here where he used the WordPress MCP that's available right here in the WordPress GitHub repo. And what he did was connect it to Claude AI, which is fairly simple. And look what he did. In this YouTube video, he shows Claude performing real-time content gap analysis based on the connection to WordPress through the MCP, generating automated newsletters automatically from your latest posts, running a live SEO audit with A/B title suggestions. And all of it is running against the actual live data because it's connecting to WordPress through the MCP. Now, if you're not familiar with what an MCP is, it stands for Model Context Protocol. It's basically a translator that sits between an application like WordPress and your AI tool so that your AI tool knows how to talk to this application. So like one thing we did recently was we used Nifty as a project management tool. And so I built an MCP that stands between Nifty and Claude. And so Claude can talk to our project management app and add tasks and things like that based on, planning that I'm doing in Claude. So it's a cool little translation tool. WordPress proper has made the MCP adapter available here at this GitHub repo, and it all just works together. It's pretty cool. So basically, this allows somebody's asking to say the same thing using different words. So basically, what Brad has done is connected Claude to WordPress using the WordPress MCP. So my suggestion, if you want to see it, just go watch the YouTube video here. There's a great link, and you can watch Brad do it. So my goal here is not to explain how it's done, it's just to point you to this video of how how you can connect WordPress to your AI tool, and it can actually go look in your WordPress site at the live data and do all sorts of cool things. So pretty neat. And this YouTube video right here will explain it to you. It's just 11 minutes long, and I'd recommend that you watch it. This is how we're going to be using AI with WordPress. And it's a great demo of how to do that. All right. Fourth thing I would mention is we've been talking a little bit in the past few weeks about the connectors that are available in WordPress 7.0 for all of your AI tools. And what you will find is, let me get the right link over here. What you can find is that these are now available in the Gutenberg plugin. So if we go to, let's see here. Thought we had Gutenberg attached here. The latest version of Gutenberg 20.22.7 ships with the AI connectors built in. So you can, it's not activated. Always helps to activate the plugin. With Gutenberg on an actual test site that you have, you will be able to configure. Where is my Gutenberg settings? You'll be able to actually configure the connection between your favorite AI tool and your WordPress site. And I am struggling to get to the right spot here. I apologize, folks. Experiments. I think we have to toggle it on here. So this is the Gutenberg plugin, and it does allow you to turn on these individual experiments. This is beta, so I would not be running this in any live actual client site or your live agency site. And I'm struggling to find it here. I'm not sure what's going on, but they have shipped the connector screen. It's settings and connectors, and I'm having trouble finding it at the moment for whatever reason. I don't know why that is, but you'll be able to use those. We've shown that in the past of how you can just drop in your API key for your AI tool of choice and start to use it immediately inside of WordPress in those AI experiments. Pretty neat. Also, you'll be able to see the real-time collaboration feature working in the block editor as well. So that's in Gutenberg 22.7, which shipped yesterday. Pretty neat. Yeah, there's the connector screen. There's some toggle I don't have on or something where you can actually install the connector for these top 3 AI tools with OpenAI, Claude, and Gemini. You will have to have an account there. This is not like your ChatGPT subscription. You'd need an OpenAI API key, for example, to plug in here, and it would be metered usage where you're paying per token. So that's all in there, and you can see how that works with the latest version of Gutenberg. All right, this is a fun one. This was actually one of the items that we covered in last week's office hours, one of the questions, the shipment 1 label. Remember that? I can't remember who brought that question up, but somebody was saying how as you're checking out, instead of shipping information, it says shipment 1 when there's actually only one package. And the response we found last week was, oh, no, it's supposed to be like that. It's a feature, not a bug, blah, blah, blah. Now they've actually come back and said, no, okay, that is a bug. We're going to fix it. And they have fixed it. It actually shipped last week on last Thursday. It's live in WooCommerce 10.6.1, where this shipment 1 label bug is now squashed. So now it just says shipment like it should. So that's nice. One last thing I will mention, and that is Kyle is looking for more responses to the Admin Bar 2026 WordPress agency survey. There are fewer responses than there have been in previous years. And this is a survey I think that benefits all of us if you followed this in previous years. This is the Admin Bar, probably the premier agency social media group on Facebook. And they do this survey every year, and it's just good to see data from other agencies and what folks are doing. I put the link to that survey in the chat. If you've not yet done that survey, it takes like 5 minutes to do. It's not a whole lot of work. 20 questions. He says takes less than 10 minutes. So there you go. Terry, you're saying they don't allow you to download the data. So he usually makes that available after the fact. So I'm not sure about that, but it wouldn't be available yet. In the past, he's made the full data set downloadable after all the results are in and the survey is closed. So I would just watch and see. He may have made a decision not to make that available. Yeah. So correct. Currently, I'm not surprised that you can't download the CSV, but it's likely, in previous years, he's made that available. So I would imagine that it will be available this year too. All right, so that is all of the agency news for today. Let me remind you that on March 24th, which is Tuesday, I'll be talking about how to rewrite your website in an hour. We have a couple of volunteers from our wonderful audience who have graciously allowed me to take a look at their site, and we'll be doing some live work through a process that you can replicate for your own site or use on client sites. Also, there's a wonderful live stream scheduled for Wednesday as well with the folks from Equalize Digital talking about how to monetize accessibility services. So that's a really good one. And finally, happy to announce Plugin Roundup is coming back on April 7th. So that's going to be a lot of fun as usual. All right, so let's get into our first question, shall we? We're a bit long in the news today, but the WordPress Playground upgrade certainly took some extra time. Looks like currently we have 4 questions in the list, so plenty of space for you to ask your question, and the link to do so is there in the chat. All right, first question comes from class. This is a cadence and meta box and formatted content in a custom field question. Okay. Class has a custom post type with content in custom fields using the WYSIWYG field to input a page summary. All right. Usually there are a few paragraphs. Now you need a list in it, so paste it in the list code. It looks good in the WYSIWYG editor, but once that gets pulled into the cadence element single custom post layout, it's a lot of words. Using a dynamic HTML block, this is what it looks like. Interesting. Okay, so interesting. It looks like it is stripping the HTML out of that. So what I would suggest you take a look at, class, is, let me see if I can get there. There is a setting in MetaBox on a field. Do we have fields set up? I think we do. Yes, we have fields. So let's take a quick peek here. Now the question is, can I find it in this new format? I think it's under advanced. Okay. I believe there, let's see here. HTML before, HTML after. There was in past versions, class, and the best I may be able to do for you here is put you on to the solution. There was a toggle that said allow HTML in this field. It may have something to do with the sanitization here. So this may have to be something you search, you Google, or you ask your favorite AI tool, or you reach out to MetaBox support in their forums to make sure. Maybe if you just hit none, that may be what it takes, so that it's not going to sanitize any of the HTML tags in there. That's probably what's going on, because all of the HTML, like all of the LI tags, are being stripped from this, and all you're getting is the strong tags. And this may actually be the formatting from Cadence that's making it bold. My guess is, yeah, it's sanitizing the output so that all the HTML tags are getting stripped. So not in this new format. I've not had to do that before, but I bet you that's what's going on. And so if you head down that trail, I bet you'll find the answer. Has anybody else run across this issue? Just let us know here in the chat, but I'm pretty sure that's the issue. They do that as a security measure, by the way, so people can't jam in a bunch of code or something. But class, I bet that is the root of the problem. Does that help you out? All right. If you get the final solution on that, class, let us know. We'll follow up on it next week. Okie dokie. Next up is Stacy. Hey, Stacy. Stacy says a client scheduled a meeting with me saying she wanted to discuss her use of AI, particularly Notebook LM. Do you know anything about Notebook LM? I planned to research it before our meeting, but I thought I'd ask. Yeah, Notebook LM is really cool. If you've not ever seen this before, Notebook LM is a Google tool which basically lets you you could kind of think of this as like I think it was made for people in an academic setting, right? So you can put in all sorts of information here. It's great to take notes in. You can drop in transcripts and things like that. And what it will do is do things like it'll build you a podcast based on the slide deck that you drop in, or based on your class notes, or whatever. So Stacy, she's using coaching for schools. So that makes sense. Yes, absolutely. So this One of the biggest uses for Notebook LM is in the educational space, without a doubt. So here's what I mean. It's super cool, right? With no doubt, it's super cool. The warning I would have is that this is a Google tool. So the chance of it being around a year from now is roll the dice, right? Uh, Google discontinues tools faster than Cloudflare changes its UI, which is a lot. So just it's a great tool for today, but I would be very careful about building systems and processes around Notebook LM, or quite frankly, any free tool like this that Google offers, because you don't know what they're going to do with it. It is a really cool tool, though, especially like for people studying and so forth. Like, see, it'll make flashcards, it'll turn outlines into mind maps. It just does, you can just dump data into this thing and it will help make sense of it and turn it into structured learning in lots of different ways, depending on how people digest information, video, audio, uh, flashcard quiz, that sort of thing. Notebook LM is like I'm in a free Google account right now, so it is free. There may be a cap on usage. I'm sure there would be, um, but yeah, this is I'm in, this is a this I'm logged into a free Google account, so it does. Elizabeth saying she pays for it, so you maybe you have an extra tier of usage or something that the free version doesn't offer. Let's just see. There's plans right here. Notebook for personal. So you can get 50 sources per notebook. So yeah, there are 3 paid tiers here, and it's based on usage and how much stuff you can put in there and so forth. Yeah. So, the fact that they are monetizing this might make you think they'll keep it around for a while, but yeah, Google has a habit of retiring things, even things that are being sold. Okie dokie. Yes, Jamie's talking about some good things there that use it for presentations, podcasts, references. Terry's saying that depending on where you are located in the world, your usage could be significantly capped. Yeah. Yep. So interesting stuff. This is one more thing that we need to learn about with AI and just be aware of. Stacy, I hope you're charging a consulting fee for this client, because this is certainly using your consultative brain power. Let me drop that link again in the chat if you wanted to download the slide deck for the WordPress agency news today. And yes, I am aware that's an HTML file. It's actually a Claude skill that built this HTML file out of the stories that I highlighted. So got Claude building that for me. It's pretty cool. How do you read it? You simply download it to your desktop and open it. Like, there's the file, and I open it right in the browser. It's just an HTML file. It's all inline styling. It all just works. It's pretty cool. The magic of Claude. All right. Next up is class. We have, let's see, 3 questions in the queue right now. So if you'd like to ask a question, please do so and using the link in the chat. Class is next. Okay. Sales page has a main call to action and a contact form above the fold. Interesting. Plus a horizontal logo scroller of all the apps this particular service supports. We've talked about this before because the client loves scrollers. I remember this. There's actually 2 rows of logos. It's scroll fever. Now the client has decided that while the scroller is right below the fold, that contact form takes up space. He wants it above the fold. So he wants 3 columns above the fold: main call to action, contact form, and a vertical scroller. Because of course they do. Yeah, a vertical scroller of all those logos. I'm sure it's possible to build a vertical scroller, but I'm struggling with how to define how tall it's allowed to get, presumably never more than the main call to action and contact form needs. It's a mess on a phone. Okay. My thoughts are, class, first of all, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry because we all either have clients like this or we will have clients like this or we've had them. Um, and this is where you just have to have a come to Jesus conversation with the client because this doesn't work. And the way I position it is all around money with the client because, the answer is, could we figure out some way to do this technically? I mean, probably, but the lift to do this is significant. And people like clients that are thinking about things like this probably have a browser that they're using full width on their laptop or desktop or whatever. And, you know, they're used to seeing their website at this dimension. They're not used to seeing it on a phone. So whenever I'm going to prep for a conversation with this, the first thing I'm going to look at is their analytics and see what percentage of people are using it on a phone, because it's probably significant. Do you have that information, class? Do you know what percentage or roughly desktop versus mobile? Um, so you've got the analytics, and that would be the first thing I would say. It's like, this is going to be super expensive to build. Like I would add a hassle factor to the cost of this because it's just, and Melanie's saying vertical carousels are a thing. I've seen a few of them. I don't see them a lot just because it's not a great interface on mobile because you're scrolling vertically. And then like, how does that work? And a lot of times when you're trying to scroll, you end up moving the carousel. It's just weird. It's not a great user experience to do. And, we want to back up and say, what's the point of this page? Right. Um, I would suggest this is a conversation about talking the client through what's technically possible versus what's right for his website versus the cost he's going to have to pay to get a half probably at most of his visitors to ever actually see this. Yeah, I don't, I mean, so in order to make this work, like the, let me scroll down. Yeah. So the thoughts, yeah, it's probably possible to build a vertical scroller. I'm not sure of anything out of the box in most of the common tool sets that would build it. To set heights of things, you can use jQuery to do that, but it's really fragile. You can use a jQuery. The term, it's a mutation. It's called jQuery mutate, and it watches the size of the browser or other elements to then, if there's a mutation in size, it can then resize other things. But it's a heavy JavaScript, and it's clunky, and it's easy to break, and it's just going to be, and like, gosh, if you're using out of the box tools like cadence galleries and things like that, I don't know how that's going to respond to a jQuery mutation after things have already loaded. Like it's not going to be easy. It's going to be super clunky. It's going to be super expensive if you can actually build it at all. And then only a small, half at most of his visitors are actually ever going to see it. So that's my advice, is to come at it from that perspective. Yeah, it's just not great. Do you know offhand, class, what percentage of people are coming on a desktop? And this is also the sort of thing that I would probably even move toward I would lean, like, it wouldn't be a hard definite for me, but I would lean toward even a discovery phase for this. It's like, I'm not even sure how we build this with our tools. Like, this is so rare and not something other people are doing that, you know, let me guess this, class. Does this organization have a brochure, like a printed brochure? Because if they do, I can just about guarantee you that every single square inch of that paper has something on it, right? They've crammed every bit of text and everything they can into this brochure, right? Because this is a client that doesn't understand design, and it's overwhelmed to people. All these things, like if you the way web design works, the way any design works, minimal is better. Like you're trying to get people to focus their mind that is already cluttered with everything else that's going on in their world, focus in on something. White space is your friend. You're trying to focus in on the elements on that page that you want them to see. And when you put everything right there above the fold, it's overwhelming and your conversions are going to drop. It's just too much. He thinks the more things on the sales page will may get more sales. Maybe, but not everything all at once above the fold. You engage them with something at the fold and then get them scrolling down the page. That's what user behavior does, especially on a mobile device, that you scroll down the page. And so I'll tell you, the most important thing about this page class is not the vertical scroll or all that. It's the copy. It's the copy. If you've got crappy copy, and that's hard to say. If you've got crappy copy, I don't care how much you cram into that above the fold, it's not going to engage people. So what you need to focus on is writing something in the above the fold that engages them to make them want to learn more, to draw them down the page. That's the key to this. Anything else is horrible design and really difficult to build. Okay, I don't know if I've helped you at all. Don't know if I've helped you at all. But I certainly, like I started out with, I'm sorry. Because these are difficult things to explain. Class, will you let us know how that goes? Like if you end up doing this, add that P to fee multiplier, because you're looking for, when we talked about dialing in your pricing last week, the special circumstance here is really difficult client. Oh, mercy. Okay. By the way, class, you may find that the rewrite your website in an hour live stream on Tuesday might be particularly helpful at generating some content that converts. Okie dokie. Fun times. All right, next up is Doris. Hey, Doris. Okay. A client site has two tables that are currently on TablePress free version and being updated manually. There's time and a place for tables still. The goal is to have a table that updates when someone submits the form. Oh my. It should add the data to the bottom of the table. That is working using Forms app or Google Sheets, but it looks awful, just like the spreadsheet. Question before I read any further, Doris. Are you using Gravity Forms by chance? Because if you are, this is going to get really easy. No. Okay. So you can do some things with Gravity Forms. What form are you using? Oh, Wufoo. Yeah. Okay. Wufoo. I have used Wufoo in the past. Okay. So if you use, and there are probably other WordPress form plugins that do this as well. But particularly if you have a Gravity Forms license already, that's what you should be using for this. Because like if the goal is it's a membership site and you're trying, somebody fills out a form and their information lands on the page, that's what you're after, right? Okay. So you can do that with a custom post type. So there's a Gravity Forms add-on that it'll take a Gravity Forms submission and inject that information into a custom post type with custom fields. And then on the members page, you just render out the custom post type with their information one after another. And that's a really quick explanation, but that's super easy. Something else you might consider is Gravity View, which does exactly this. So you can actually take the Like that's exactly what you're talking about right here, right? So like you can um, take your form fields and build a view for form entries. And as Melanie is saying, they also have a table view that's in here. Uh, this tool is built for that. And so there is a cost involved. It's a Gravity Kit plugin, so it's a really good developer. Um, so there's a little bit of cost involved. But this is the kind of thing you bundle into your package, and if the client wants it, that's what they can get. There are membership plugins also, by the way, that have this sort of feature, and that actually might be the better way to do it, depending on what you're trying to do here. Many like Ultimate Member and some others have a membership directory feature that once a person has a login, they can create their own little profile, and there's a direct. It's like all built in where they can have more than just name and email address and whatever. Like it's an actual profile. Yes, Pay Membership Pro. If you're already using that, PM Pro has this feature as well. So a lot of membership plugins build this into what they're doing. And oh, you're already using PM Pro, then use that. We have one directory already, so this is for something different. Yeah, then I would look at something like this. Like the simplest way to do it would be to use a gravity form to populate posts in a custom post type. And so there's a gravity form add-on called custom post types, and you just connect it. Like you map the fields. This field in the form goes to this custom field in the custom post type, right? Name, email, whatever. And then you just build out a custom post type view with whatever you use to do that. And it just adds the things. The other, a neat thing about that Gravity Forms add-on is that whenever somebody submits it, you can also set it to go in like as a pending approval, so that a user, an admin or editor user, will get a notification that here's a post and it needs to be approved by someone. So there can be an editorial process in that flow. So that you don't have people putting bad information or whatever. So that's the way that I would do it. And yeah, 100%. That's if you've got Gravity Forms and you're familiar with custom post types, that is the way to go. Next up, Dave. Hey, Dave. I haven't told anybody else this yet, but I'm thinking of retiring. Hey, good for you, Dave. I'm a solopreneur with a very small agency, 5 clients, not actively trying to find new clients for the last 5 years. Being this small, it's definitely a part-time job, but I'm looking to travel more and golf more, so really starting to think about it. Awesome. I'm torn, though. I really like tech and learning new things, but I guess I can continue to do that without the worry of somebody's site going down or getting a SIPA letter. Yeah. Still planning on attending office hours. I can't get out of this cold turkey, but I'm worried about my clients. They've been with me an average of 9 years. Perhaps they have somebody else in mind, but I'm kind of thinking they don't, and they'll be looking for a recommendation. I have a couple of questions. Is it realistic to think I might be able to sell this business or a referral fee or something? Yes, it is. I have a couple of lifetime licenses. Are they worth anything if I close the business? They are okay. Most lifetime licenses cannot be transferred. However, if a business acquires your business, that's a gray area, okay? Because like that business is now my business, and so I acquire its assets. It's a question mark. Any other recommendations or things I should be thinking about? Yeah. So there's definitely value in recurring revenue. There's 2 things that give agencies value. The first is recurring revenue. The second is repeatable processes. So if you have any secret sauce in your agency about how you're doing things, or you've got written processes that are repeatable by someone, that helps to give it value. But really, it's based on the recurring revenue in your business. Melanie's saying 1.5 to 3x, and that really all depends on, and it could be actually less than that, depending on how long clients have been with you. Yours have been with you a while, so that would tend to help. So yeah, there's definitely value. So Dave, if you're in Slack, maybe somebody would, if you're interested, you can talk to Dave. Okie dokie. Next up is Chris. Hey, Chris. Oh, that's right. Yes, Chris, we talked about this before. Chris came across this resource, which is interesting. It is called Domainmod.org. It's free, right? It's open source. Am I remembering that right? Oh yeah. So you can download this where it says download, and you can run this. This is a setup on your server system, right? Yeah, self-hosted and private. So it's a web app, and it helps you track domains. It looks pretty cool. Looks pretty cool. So Chris says it's kind of tricky to set up correctly, but you have it running and sending emails. Interesting. Very, very interesting. So, and this is like the use case here would be emailing clients when their domain is about to expire, basically. Is that kind of the use case? Is it for domain hoarders? I guess it could be. Oh, like ones you hoard. Okay. But not for clients. I guess it could be for clients, right? Oh, you're not using this for clients. Interesting. Anyway, domainmod.org looks like a pretty cool tool. Check that out. Thinking about Cadence, spent a lot of time learning it, working with it, still finding it non-intuitive. Since Ben left, it is directly solid WP, stellar WP. Your recommendation about whether to continue to switch to something else. Thinking generate press, still love Beaver Builder, worried it's going to get left behind. Oh boy. Okay. Page builders, themes of choice. Everything's up in the air right now. And depending on who you talk to, most people have very strong opinions about why they've chosen their builder, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So I don't really have anything to say about Ben leaving Cadence or Stellar or those things. What I will say is we're still using Cadence as our base theme in my agency. We've not, and here's okay. Maybe this is the way to think. This is the way I think about it, and you're welcome to join me in this thought process. But the way I think about any shift in core stack items, core stack, themes, plugins, tools to run the agency, any shift in that stack of tools needs to have a business reason, not I'm chasing the new shiny or I'm scared about something that just happened all of a sudden. It needs to be a business reason, meaning like the business needs to justify from a business perspective that it's right to move because moving a core piece of your stack introduces complexity to managing the websites that you manage. Does that make sense? So, that's you really have to think about this. We moved from Astra to Cadence, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. I can't remember when. Not it may have even been during COVID. I can't even remember, but because Cadence was a far superior product focused on accessibility, Astra was a hot mess. They fixed some things, but anyway, we moved to Cadence. But now we're managing sites in Astra and Cadence, and it's just not great. It's funny how quickly you forget where things are located in a theme that you really haven't touched in 3 or 4 years. So make these foundational tool changes slowly, unless there's a compelling reason. Like if they came out and said Cadence isn't going to get any updates anymore, period, whatever. They're not doing that. Cadence is the one thing you can count on with companies like the owners of Cadence is it's dollar signs that make the most, and Cadence brings in money. And so they're going to continue to pump resources into it. So I don't fear that it's going away anytime soon. So let me read the question again. My recommendation to you, anybody, period, is like, unless you're using WP Bakery, I wouldn't really look at changing your builder anytime soon. And the reason is this: who knows where AI is going to land us in the next year? Who knows where AI is going to land us in the next year? Really, truly. Like, there's no way to know. This is not the time to be switching your builder. It's just not. It's not worth the lift right now because I'm taking up my crystal ball and rubbing it like my bald head and hoping for an answer here. But My gut feeling is things a year from now and the landscape a year from now is going to look different with all of these tools. Once AI starts working itself into core and all the things we were talking about earlier today, with all the MCPs that are being written, with having the connectors built into core, yeah, it's going to look radically different. So don't change now. Things are moving too fast. Wait until the dust settles a little bit, and maybe that'll never happen. I don't know. But I think we'll have more clarity months up the road than we do right now. Now, I'm still using Beaver Builder. I like Beaver Builder. We can build quickly. It's fast. The things they're building into it, they're not. It's not getting left behind at all. I just saw two in the last week. I've seen two different experiments. One is actually a launch tool that lets you vibe code inside of Beaver Builder, and it builds out Beaver Builder layouts, just like a lot of the um, other tools are doing. So everybody's moving right now. We need to if you're going to make a change, let the dust settle a little bit first. So that's my advice. Does that help at all? I mean, I don't know, Chris. Was that helpful at all? So many things. All right, two more questions and we'll wrap things up. Next is Gene. A client is asking for their website to come up better on AI searches. Yeah. I've submitted llms.txt and I've advised them about the tips mentioned in the webinar by Daphne. Do you have a source for tweaking the llms.txt manually to improve this? Also, is there a way to track analytics from AI searches to the website? Yes, and yes. Okay. So I have not seen Daphne's live stream yet. I do know she's on the cutting edge of these things. I also know that everybody's disagreeing about these things right now. So the best advice that I'm giving my clients is the core things we've been doing for SEO don't change. They just don't change. It's still about quality content. Now, are there things we can do to make that content more appealing to LLMs? Yes. One of the things, let's see, what's it called? Markdown. I can't. I've talked about it a couple times here on previous office hours, and I can't remember the name of it, but it's from Yoast and his team wrote a little plugin called Markdown, Markdown something. It's in the Progress. It's under the banner of Progress Planner, but it's a free download in there. Thank you, Terry. That is it. Awesome. So it's this. This is Yoast's post about it, and Markdown for Agents goes here. That's not it. He wrote a plugin down right here. Markdown alternate. Okay. So basically what this does is you can go to your website, and I've shown this before, but I'm going to go to nathaningram.com, just to a page. And this is a fairly complicated page, as you'll see, with, oh, I'm like zoomed in, but lots of different things, whatever. If we change this to .md, what it does is, this is the plugin at work. It generates a markdown page that keeps all the formatting. So H1, H2, all the things, right? So this is really helpful, and it allows LLMs to digest this stuff quicker, and it takes less tokens for them to do so, which might make you think, well, maybe they'll prefer this information. So there are little things like this, but it's really hard. Like Claude and OpenAI and all those folks are not pulling back the rug and saying this is how you rank higher on our stuff, just like Google doesn't do that. The broad principles is it. So interesting. All right. So Gene, that's really it. Focus on continuing to write great content that appeals to your target market. That is by far the most important thing you can do. And then little things like maybe that plugin or something else. Cloudflare's got a tool that's supposed to do that for you as well. There's little things like that that might help you pick up some traction, but it's still all about content. Make sure you watch that webinar from Daphne if you haven't done so. All right. Last question of the day comes from Tanya. Hey, Tanya. Tanya asks, have you used this for analytics? Some of my clients don't need an elephant gun to kill a mouse. I've never seen Coco Analytics. Let's mm, let's not print this. Let's go there. All right. Never heard of it. There are a number of WordPress based analytics options. Never heard of Coco Analytics. So the one that I recommend is Independent Analytics. And it's independentwp.com. It is quite good. The free version has pretty much anything you'd want. The typical site is going to want. Now, if you need to track user journeys or use UTM codes, or if you're using WooCommerce or something like that, you need to upgrade. But the free version, this is when we went through and dealt with all of the SIPA issues, everybody that was a nonprofit that didn't need Google Analytics, and even some small business brochure websites that don't need Google Analytics, like the full weight of it, we moved everybody to independent analytics. We've been using it for years on some sites, and sometimes even as a backup analytics. It's great. We love it. It's much easier, in my opinion, just to read and understand than Google Analytics is. It's quite good. So this is the one I recommend. I've never heard of Coco. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. The pricing for the paid version is, it's not awful, and they do still have a lifetime deal. $600 unlimited. So there you go. And Sue's right. It's hard to, like, most clients probably don't need Google Analytics. We still use it for larger clients, especially because many of them may want to do some ads in the future and so forth. And it's just helpful to have a history in Google Analytics to show traffic differences when you start to do SEO. Can you run both? Absolutely. We are running both on a couple of sites. Yeah. And this, I don't know about Coco Analytics, but you want to make very, very sure that it's cookieless. Whatever other alternative that you're using, that it's using at most a first-party cookie that's not going to be a tracker that's sent to third parties that tends to flag the SIPA warnings. And independent analytics does check that box. It is privacy first. And there are others. There's a paid version called Fathom Analytics also. This has been around for quite a while. It's not terribly expensive. Starts at $15 a month for 50 sites. So there are other options as well. I think you have to watch for the number of page views on this. Yeah, so it is by page views in the account. So if with all the websites you manage, let's say you manage 40 websites, if all total 40 websites get less than 100,000 page views, you could get Fathom at $15 a month. So it's not a huge expense, and it is quite good. It is privacy first, and there's a lot of Fathom fans out there, and they use cat logos. So, there you go. All right, everybody, that is going to wrap it up for today. The link for upcoming live streams. Yes. I am going to drop in our link bundle. I forgot to do that earlier. And you can always get to our links by going to upcoming.myagencysuccess.com. And that will forward you to this link app that has all of the upcoming links right there. A couple of April live streams have been added, by the way. April 14th, Ali and Daphne are going to be here from the hosting.com team talking about word of mouth marketing and how important that is. And then I'm going to be talking about the image problem, the easiest fix for WordPress speed, on April the 28th. So those have been added, and looking forward to all those things. All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with me today. We will see you back here Tuesday for the live stream all about rewriting your website in an hour. Looking forward to that one. Hope you have a great weekend. Hope you work not at all and you get to enjoy some great time doing something you enjoy. I'll see you back here Tuesday on hosting.com's Agency Success, where we go further together.